This is the second battle between Diplomatt and Magma. Diplomatt commanding Macedonian and Magma commanding Rum. Schlacht von Nemetocenna, the Battle of Nemetocenna. Macedon is a very difficult faction to make work against Rome. For Magma, we have a center consisting of Evocati, backed up by Hastati, and I saw two armored legionaries in the center. He has two velites, two Syrian archers, spare gladiatresses, auxiliary infantry, legionary cavalry. General is a commander. One more legionary cavalry. For Macedon, we have 4 Thessalian cavalry. We have, I believe, 6 thorax swords, 2 slingers, 2 Cretans, and let's see here, 2 archers, I believe, companion cavalry general, 2 militia hoplites on each flank. So in terms of infantry, Rome of course takes it. Rome is going to have a decisive infantry advantage against Macedon in most cases. The cavalry advantage is, at least in terms of effectiveness against infantry, the cavalry advantage is decisively in Macedon's favor. Macedon also has a skirmishing advantage, but the thorax swords are going to die against the Evocati and the legionaries of Rome. So we'll just fast forward as they move up. They're sort of reorienting their lines against each other. Diplomatt again deploying very wide, which isn't a bad idea against Rome, especially when there isn't a lot of good cavalry on the field for Rome. Going wide, it's going to allow him to kite better, to do more damage with his skirmishers, and prevent getting outflanked while potentially getting some flanking done on his own. Rome is moving up confidently. 3 militia hoplites. We have the auxiliary Syrian archers starting to fire, getting the very important first few volleys off. Cheap archers firing, also Cretans. Yeah, we have the militia hoplites rushing away. The auxiliary Syrian archers are taking a lot of damage here. They are under fire from 3 skirmish units, and that is going to take them down very quickly indeed. Syrians can defeat Cretans in one-on-one, but when they are supported by archers and slingers, it's just going to be too much for the auxiliary Syrian archers to deal with. So a nice use of both elite and cheap skirmishers here. Going to continue to fire on the auxiliary Syrian archers. They're going to take a lot of damage from the focus fire here. Precision shot isn't used for the auxiliary Syrian archers. Rome, seeing that it cannot stand and trade with the superior skirmishers of Macedon, rushing in here. This unit of militia hoplites is going to eat it against the Hastati. Very nicely done here, getting the Thessalians into the legionary cavalry. The legionary cavalry is going to die there, probably. In the center, we have companions charging in against the legionary cavalry and the velites. Very nice, but also very dangerous if the javelins start incoming against the companions. But it doesn't... Well, they're taking some javelin fire, but not a whole lot, so that was a decent enough charge. Magma didn't charge in his guys. Then thorax swords coming in against Evocati. They're not going to do well there at all. On the side here, the Hastati are going to get wrecked. But in this engagement, things are not going to go well for the Thessalians now that the spear gladiatresses have made it into combat. Very messy engagement in the center. Nice use of cavalry in blunting the charges of the Roman infantry. Thessalians cavalry moving around the flanks. And the Thessalians did well against the legionary cavalry, but when the gladiatresses moved in, they just cannot hold. And all across the line, the thorax swords are losing significantly against the Roman infantry, which is to be expected. In order to make this work, Diplomatt really needs to start rear charging at this point. But there are a lot of messy engagements and a lot of spear infantry in the back of the Roman army. Over here, the companions charging into the spear gladiatresses, doing a lot of damage, but they could just get surrounded and destroyed here by all of these Roman units. Nicely done here, getting the Thessalians into the auxiliary Syrian archers. But the Roman infantry is just destroying everything that Macedon has. This Thessalian did not get a charge against the depleted legionary cavalry, and legionary cavalry is going to do reasonably well against Thessalians if the Thessalians don't get the charge against them. Rome starting to break through here with the Evocati, getting a lot more kills than the Thorax swords. I mean, they have their melee attack is just immense compared to the melee attack of the Thorax swords. The companion cavalry is doing some work, but he is in disadvantageous engagements here against both legionary cavalry and auxiliary infantry. The legionary cavalry is starting to waver, getting another charge against them. Spear gladiatresses don't like getting fired upon by archers much. Velite is getting wrecked by the Thessalian cavalry, but the thorax hoplites just cannot hold for long enough. The companion cavalry getting attacked in the rear here by the legionary cavalry. The legionary cavalry is going to break. And we have the Thessalians doing a very nice job in the back of the Roman army. But the main problem is going to be these free cavalry units that are going to be able to get into the Macedonian skirmishers, and also the Thorax swords just not doing well against the Roman infantry at all. So it looks like we might have a long kiting game here, so I'll just fast forward. If Macedon manages to take care of the cavalry of Rome, then Macedon might have a chance, but it looks like the general the general died. The legatus is doing a very important job in taking care of these skirmishers, and now this is impossible for Macedon. There not enough Macedonians left on the field to finish this off. Although they are getting nice kills on the Thessalians, the armored legionaries and the Evocati are just too strong. You're not going to be able to break them easily. They're very hard to kill. And although the balance of it's fairly balanced, the balance of power is fairly balanced at the moment, but these Cretans are going to get destroyed by the legatus. Had the legatus been off the field, then this would have been a victory for Macedon. But the legatus getting so many important kills on the skirmishers, basically no cavalry left for Macedon, so this is going to be very, very difficult. The legatus just running around stopping skirmishers from firing. The Roman infantry using spaghetti lines to just push away the skirmishers of Macedon and take less casualties. So at this point this is a GG. Not enough Macedon left on the field to do anything. It was close up until the legatus managed to get into the skirmishers of Macedon. Here the Thorax swords are just going to lose horribly. Again, nice kills on these Thorax, but against legionaries they just don't stand a chance. So all of the skirmishers for Diplomatt getting caught, and that is game. Macedon is a very difficult faction to make use against Rome because of the lackluster sword infantry, the total domination by the Evocati and armored legionaries. Diplomatt used his Cretans and his cavalry fairly well, but it's just not enough when the infantry performs this poorly. So the score is 1-1 between Magma and Diplomatt. We're moving on to the tiebreaker in the next battle. Strength and honor.